Hey guys, welcome to Fergie's Football Focus. We are back on the main channel. How is everyone doing today? Let's see who's here. Sandro is back. Welcome back, Sandro. Toncho is here as well. Welcome and football days. It's great to have you guys with us. This is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be talking just, biggest football news, having some fun debates, and let's see what topics you guys bring to the table as well. This is going to be we're going to do this throughout the summer, every week on Saturday, a live podcast episode where I have a couple planned topics, answer some of your guys' questions. It's going to be a great time. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Let's aim for 15 likes today back on the main channel. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. My first topic that I want to address today, I think this will be kind of just a beginning topic while we wait for a few more people to join the stream. It's going to be about Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, right? What should Arsenal do regarding the Arteta situation? Because they've had an absolutely atrocious season. They currently sit 9th position in the Premier League. They were knocked out of the Europa League, so they will not be playing European football next season. And they've just looked quite poor throughout the entire season as well. They haven't been good. I see Sandro saying, watching Bundesliga right now and your channel. My guy, I know there's a big match going on with Dortmund versus Leipzig. So Sandro, you keep us posted with that. And let's see if this deserves the Fergie stamp of approval. Good to hear that you enjoyed the new video, Seren, and that means he's watched it, my guy. We'll also be doing those on the Fergie's United fan channel, transfer weekly updates every Friday. So I got a lot of content coming for you guys planned in the summer. But back to Mikel Arteta, and I want to get your guys' take on this. Do you think Arsenal should keep Mikel Arteta in for the summer and into the next season, or should they sack him at the end of the season? Let me know down below in the live chat. I'm very curious to hear your guys' take on that, all right? Something I want to say really quickly about the way our screen is set up here. It kind of looks like I'm on the video board in the stadium. That was not intentional, but I'm just looking at it right now, and it looks like I'm on the stadium's video board. Let's see what others are saying here. I think transfer videos can help your channel grow. 100%, Sandra. That was some of the thinking behind it. But also, I'm doing the news on my Instagram, so I thought, why not just report some of these stories also on the channel? But yeah, 100%. Spot on. Guanil says, I just finished watching the championship relegation battle. Interesting. I just seen a post on Instagram about that. And Guanil, we'll get to that in just a second. Serenin thinks Arteta should stay at Arsenal for another season. Of course, I think Serenin may be a little partial to Arteta because obviously he worked under Pep Guardiola, and that's that kind of relationship. So he probably has that trust knowing that he's worked with some of the best managers in the world. For me, the way I kind of see Arteta is I think it's Arsenal are in such a bad position right now. Arsenal are in such a bad position at this point where they need someone with a bit of experience. The issue is, right, I don't think Arteta's the right guy probably for this job at this point. But who is that manager with experience? Is it Allegri? I don't know that much about Allegri, apart from he's a top manager. But any manager that comes in, regardless of who they are, regardless of their resume, will need financial investment. Because even if, guys, listen to this, even if, you get a new manager, a top-class manager like Allegri, right? They're still going to struggle because the squad is not good. The squad is not good whatsoever. That Arsenal squad you have a lot of talented players, but also overrated players because all those players, or majority, lack consistency. And that is such an important thing when playing in the Premier League. And if you want to be an elite club, right? And they have no consistency whatsoever. Let's see what your guys' takes are on this. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the live chat. Allegri too big for Arsenal, says Sandro. Very interesting. The thing about the appealing part about Arsenal, though, guys, is this, right? Arsenal, they have lots of history. They're a big club. And, there may be a manager out there. There just may be a manager out there. For example, an Allegri that may be how good would it look on their resume if they brought Arsenal back? At least even close to the glory days, right? Because Arsenal during their glory days, very, very good side. If someone could bring Arsenal back to that, how would that make their resume look? They would be legendary for that. So, that's also maybe an appeal to a manager that wants a challenge. But you'd want a manager who's already in a very stable, comfortable position. Because, there's a good chance you go to Arsenal and you're not going to be successful. So I think that does also turn managers away. So it's a give and take, right? Some managers may want the challenge. Others may, be scared to take that challenge because it may reflect really poorly upon them. Board has backed Arteta already. Yes, Gwenil, it does sound like from everything I have read that Arteta will be back next season at Arsenal. But I think it's interesting just to debate maybe what we think or how we think they should handle it. I just think Kroenke stays, Arteta stays, comes in. Ike comes in, Arteta goes out. Yes, that's very interesting. So when he says, I think he meant Elk, which is the Spotify founder. And he's been interested in putting in a bid for Arsenal. I don't know if it'll go through. I don't know how much Kroenke wants to keep the club. It does sound like he does want to keep the club, which in that case, right, that means Arteta would stay. But I agree with him 100%. That's a phenomenal point. If Elk comes in as a new owner, I definitely think we'll see. I think we'll see in all the management and in different positions within the club, the football director, technical director, I think we'll see all those positions replaced if we see a new owner because he'll want to bring in his own people and people he trusts. So it's very interesting stuff. But yeah, I think it would be good for Arsenal, as it would be for United, as it would be for any of these clubs, for a new owner to come in. And also, of course, the 50+1. We've talked a lot about that. A topic could be who's going to be the new Real coach if Zidane leaves. Great point, Sandro. Hold on to that one, and we'll get to it in a little bit. Let's see what others are saying here. Anything else? Why did Arsenal pay 80 million for Pepe? Great point. I think Pepe has been actually one of Arsenal's better players this season, but he hasn't been given enough opportunity, in my opinion. Mikel Arteta, this is some of the issues where he's rubbing the wrong way with fans, is he's giving Willian and players like that lots of opportunities, but not necessarily some of the younger players who have been playing really well. And don't get me wrong, he's given Saka and Smith Rowe tons of opportunities, but I'm talking about players like Pepe, who, Pepe's shown lots of quality this year, hasn't quite taken it to the next level, but it's an interesting situation for sure. So yeah, Klopp is the perfect type of coach for Arsenal, yeah. And you know what? Arteta was very much viewing his Arsenal reign. This is super fascinating to me. Arteta was very much viewing his Arsenal reign similarly to how Klopp came into Liverpool. Like, Arteta's goal was to make the Champions League this year, and then in 3 years' time win the Champions League like Jurgen Klopp did. Wow. I mean, he was far off it, right? He was way far off it. But that's how he viewed it, and that's kind of what Arsenal need. But the thing is, you could argue, to be fair, if we go back to that Liverpool squad Klopp had, it was an absolute stinker. Absolute stinker, that squad. And but there's only a handful of Jurgen Klopp managers in the world. And Arteta definitely is not anywhere near that class yet. It's just the issue. It's Arsenal's run deep. You have the players. I think there's a lot of overrated players in that squad that are on too big wages. You got the manager who, while he may be a really sharp tactical mind, very inexperienced from a managerial standpoint. And then you have owners and other club executives. And one other thing before I want to get through the chat and read what you guys have to say with regards to Arsenal for me. The one other thing I want to say is I think, it makes it for a really interesting situation and talking point. We've seen Arteta, he's kind of failed at Arsenal despite being a former well-known player within the club. We've seen Lampard fail at Chelsea despite being a club legend. And we've seen Pirlo, he's been failing at Juventus. They're not winning the league. That's a failure for Juventus. So what I would say is, at the end of the day, this whole thing about bringing in a manager just because he's a club legend, that's just been proven to be absolute nonsense, and experience rules over all. So that's my kind of final say on it. I want to scroll through here. So Serenin says, yeah, but I think in the class of people who would take the job, Arteta is one of the top options. I don't know. It's an interesting one, and that's where we don't really know because we're not at Arsenal. We're not working with the club executives, but it's hard to say. Arsene Wenger's joined the chat. He said, Arsenal can have me back. I could return to Arsenal. Arsene Wenger. You know what? It is kind of funny. Well, I want to be clear, though, with Arsene Wenger, guys. While I think, he did phenomenal things for the club, and it was a little unfair how how he was escorted out the club. It was kind of getting to the point where it was time to move in a different direction. Like, I think the Wenger era was over, but I think the way they did it was just poor. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. But y'all let me know down below in the chat. I see my guy Josh is here. He's very excited that the main channel is back up and running. He says the great channel is back. Yes, sir, we are here, Josh. And we're going to be doing, Josh, we are going to be doing a weekly live podcast on this channel throughout the entire summer. So it's going to be definitely a lot of fun on here. And I like this little balance. It's a way for me to continue uploading on here while still focusing on Fergie's United fan channel. And really quickly, I want to thank you guys for helping me on Fergie's United fan channel hit over 150 subscribers now. So that channel's starting to get some movement going, and I really do appreciate all the support. Let's see what others are saying here. You're too old, Arsene, says Gwinnell. Let's see what others are saying here. How did Arsenal pay $80 million for Pepe? That's more than Sane, Coman, and Gnabry. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think they're kind of they're not been savvy enough, and that's the thing with Liverpool. That's why Liverpool, I've seen the success they have. So first off, Man City, they've seen the success, obviously, because they have boatloads of money to spend, and that's no shots, and they've also done a good job spending that money, okay? I'll say that as well, Serenin, but they do have boatloads of money to spend. Liverpool don't necessarily have that same type of money, but they're so savvy. They're not, if you look at Liverpool's last couple summers, they're not always looking for the big transfer. A lot of times they're looking for that player that can fit in nicely to their squad already, and are looking to move smart. And that's where I have to give Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool big props, right? They move so smart, and that's all down to Klopp. And the people he's brought in as well. My guy Yusuf is here. Shout out Yusuf. Appreciate you stopping by. People used to laugh at me for finishing 4th place with Arsenal. Now they dream of it. Yeah, I remember making fun of my Arsenal friends 6 years ago, saying, oh, you guys always finish in 4th and all that. I was joking always about 4th place and that, right? Mate, Arsenal wish they could finish 4th and wish they could get Champions League football. They wish they could even finish like 6th, 5th to get Europa League football at this point. But yeah, it is crazy how far they have fallen in the last couple of years. It's mental. Yeah, he should play Pepe a lot more. Yeah, Pepe's been one of their better players. And that's where he's also losing it a lot with fans, is some of the squad selection. Some of his tactics recently, he looks a little bit like a fish out of water, where he's just kind of throwing random stuff out there and hoping that it sticks. So that's kind of my criticism of Arteta. Gwinnell with the update in the Palace game. Palace, I believe it's Palace Sheffield United. Is that correct, Gwinnell? 1-0 the Palace. I've read stuff around that one of the people that attends the matches said he's coaching too much. Yeah, that's what we're 100%. That's what we were just talking about. What I just mentioned with regards to I think him just trying too many different tactics, throwing too much stuff out there, and it not sticking, right? So it's very interesting. Let's see what else is going on here. Germany has 4 World Cups, says Sandro. But Ole, oh yes. Let Me see if I still have this quote on my phone. This is from our friend, of course, Bo Feekins, Inside Arsenal channel. Check him out. But he said this. He said this yesterday. Bo's been very critical of Ole. I have been critical of Ole before. But let me pull this up on my phone. All right, this is quoting. He said, "We need our Ole. We need our Ole," when he's talking about Arsenal. So very funny how that's changed, right? Ole for a long time seen as like just a joke manager, and Arteta seen as the sharp tactical mind, where he probably is still maybe a little sharper tactically than Ole. But Ole's done. We have to give Ole credit where it's due. He's done a phenomenal job at Manchester United. Abraham, DeAndre, welcome, guys. Guys, if you're just tuning in right now, smash the like button. We're aiming for 15 likes on the stream. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We're just talking about Mikel Arteta. Also, for those of you unaware, if you are interested, the reason I haven't been uploading as much on this channel is because I'm focusing on my second channel, Fergie's United fan channel. It's a United-focused channel, all the content around my club, Manchester United. But if you guys are interested in partaking in some of the live streams or checking out some of the videos where I do transfer weeklies, then go check out that channel as well. It'd be greatly appreciated if you dropped a sub over there. But yeah, let's see what others are saying in the chat, and then we'll bounce to our next topic, because I got a couple planned, and one of these we actually talked about in one of the recent live streams. So I think you guys will be happy to finish this kind of conversation. But yeah, let's see what else. I'll oppose the Liverpool opinion, though. I think a handful has been what you call a success signing. Gwenil, what do you mean by that? Could you explain what success signing mean is? I don't quite understand that, but yeah, I'm curious. Let's see what other people are saying here in the chat. DeAndre, how are we doing? Should United keep Cavani or go for Kane? Interesting stuff. You know what I would say about that? I'll answer this question quickly, and then we'll get to our Premier League Hall of Fame, because I really want to talk about that. I would keep Cavani. I personally would keep... I know Harry Kane is a phenomenal player, and I think he would fit well into Manchester United, but there's other areas of concern that we need to address. I talked about this in my Transfer Weekly video on Fergie's United fan channel, and I think we need a center back and a central defensive midfielder. Those are the two primary positions we need to address. And I think there is a possibility, in my mind, if we sell Lingard, get 30 mil for him, can we potentially sign Varane, Basuma from Brighton, who I think is a phenomenal central defensive midfielder, and then Jadon Sancho on the wing? That's how I look at it. And then you keep Cavani, because he's now interested in staying. It sounds like he will want to stay. So could that be a situation? Sandro sent my dream squad for Manchester United next season. And obviously, my dream squad, obviously, I would love to have a Messi, but like a realistic dream squad, somewhat realistic dream squad. And it would be Dean Henderson in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka right back, Maguire and Varane as the center backs, Luke Shaw as the left back, Basuma and Pogba as the central defensive midfielders, Bruno as the attacking midfielder, Sancho on the right, you'd have Rashford on the left, and then Greenwood and Cavani fighting for that striker spot. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. But yes, I would absolutely love to keep Cavani and then look to address other more important areas where we're struggling more. But yeah. All right, I see my guy Tactical Manager TV is here. He says, "Hey Aiden, Kane leaving Spurs is pretty much certain. It is certain." And you know what? If we signed Harry Kane, let me be clear. If we signed Harry Kane, I would not be mad whatsoever. But I think he's going to be highly sought after. I could actually see him making a move outside the Premier League. But yeah, he's a phenomenal player. So I mean, if Kane wants to come to United, yeah, be my guest, please. So, anyways, all right, guys, I want to move to this next conversation. Then I'll answer a couple more questions from y'all. But our next one, it's going to be the Hall of Fame. Okay, so the Premier League announced they are doing a Hall of Fame. Quite an American idea, but it is fun. It is a fun one. We can't lie. All right, that's something good we've stolen from the Americans, or they have stolen from the Americans, because I am an American. But you get me. So the first two players that will be in the Premier League Hall of Fame are Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry. They've already been announced. But there is a list of roughly, I think, 20 more players, and from that list, you can pick 6 players. The fans can vote for 6 players that will be nominated next season. And let's be clear, of course, Wayne Rooney would be one of those top players for me, or an Aguero, those guys. But Aguero's career is still going. Wayne Rooney just retired. So those are the type of players that are not on this list. But let me read off this list to you guys, and I would love to know your 6 players down below in the live chat, okay? So yeah. So the players on this list: Tony Adams, David Beckham, Dennis Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Eric Cantona, Andy Cole, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, Les Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Matt Letizia, Michael Owen, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, John Terry, Robin Van Persie, Nemanja Vidic, Patrick Vieira, and Ian Wright, okay? So those are the players on the short list, and from that list, 6 players will be inducted based on how the fans vote. I definitely do recommend, if you guys are interested, go give your say. It's on the Premier League website, but in the chat, I'm curious who you guys think it should be. I'm going to share mine with you guys. And let's start with what Abraham has to say here, okay? Abraham says Scholes, Lampard, and Gerrard should be next. Interesting stuff there, Abraham. And Abraham, we are of a similar mind. Because for me, I think those 3 players, they should all, there's always been this generational debate. Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard, who's the best? Who's the best? Everyone will say something different. Your Chelsea fans will likely say Lampard. Your Liverpool fans will likely say Gerrard, and your United fans will likely say Scholes, and each have an argument. Scholes was just a complete player, right? Lampard, the midfield goal scorer, absolutely ridiculous, and Gerrard also that kind of complete player that could also score at such a high clip as well. They're all phenomenal, but I think all 3 of them should go in at the same time. So I think it should be my 3 players, 3 of my 6. Paul Scholes, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard. I mean, each of those players defined an era at their football club. Of course, Gerrard winning the Champions League with Liverpool. You have Frank Lampard winning a bunch with Chelsea, obviously, under Mourinho. And then, of course, none other than Paul Scholes just winning everything with Manchester United. So those 3 for me have to go in 100%. So Abraham goes Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard should be next. So we've got a kind of consensus here. I see Scholes, Gerrard from Josh. Gwenell says it's kind of an idea. I prefer the clubs to do their own version, like a lifetime member. What I would say is something I want to see in this Hall of Fame is this. I want to see each club have at least one member in the Hall of Fame, one representee. I would really like that. I don't know about that. I don't know how other people feel about that, but I think that would be a really cool idea. Because, for example, this is a debate I saw on YouTube. Matt Letizia, a phenomenal player for Southampton, really defined a generation for them, but he's not necessarily as well known or as highly rated internationally, or by our younger generation. But I think each club should have some sort of a represented eventually, right? Right now we're talking about the first 8 players in there, and those should all be the top guys. But Drogba will make it, I think, says DeAndre. That's an interesting shout as well. What do you guys think about Drogba? I'd love to hear your guys' who you think should go in. But my first 3, Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard. I'll move to my next one now. My next one from Arsenal, Dennis Bergkamp. I mean, when you think of Arsenal, when you think of their best players, apart from Thierry Henry, I think Bergkamp is probably their second best player in the Premier League era, right? I mean, he was just absolutely phenomenal for them. So I think he's got to be in there as well. I'm going to round it out with 2 United players, Eric Cantona, right? Eric Cantona, I think, he was really at the beginning, that start of really United's just absolute dominance playing as a second striker. I mean, just scoring a boatload of goals, the creativity in the final third. Cantona's highlights are just insane as well. So for me, I think Cantona has got to be in there. And then finally, I'm going to round it out with the leader for Manchester United, just the absolute hard nose he was. He's just a player that you'll never see again because that kind of player can't survive in this modern game. And that's Roy Keane. Roy Keane, what a phenomenal player for Manchester United. So that's my 6 right there. Bergkamp, Cantona, Gerrard, Keane, Lampard, and Paul Scholes. I see Patrick Vieira. That's a good shout as well. I'm partial to Keane, obviously, as a Manchester United fan, and just considering what he was able to accomplish, and I think he was really at the core of that United side. He was the driving force, holding those guys accountable and training every day. I see Josh goes Bergkamp, Henry, and Drogba. Very interesting there. So we've heard Drogba a couple times. Bergkamp, that's also who I've said. Henry is already in the Hall of Fame, but yeah, I think he 100% deserves to be. Let's see what other people have to say here. I'd love to hear more of who else you guys think. And I appreciate everyone smashing the like button. The goal today, 15 likes on the stream. We're close to hitting that goal already, so shout out to you guys. And yeah, let me know down below in the live chat which 6. I'll read off the list for you guys one more time just so everyone can hear it again. Tony Adams, David Beckham, Dennis Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Eric Cantona, Andy Cole, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, Les Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, Frank Lampard, Matt Letizia, Michael Owen, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, John Terry, Robin Van Persie, Nemanja Vidic, Patrick Vieira, and Ian Wright. Something I do feel a little guilty about is not having any defenders in there, right? We have a lot of midfielders. We have a lot of attacking players. Not really many not many defenders or any defenders. So I think Gwinnell makes a great point with Ashley Cole. I think 100% that's a really good shout there. I think that's a phenomenal shout. I think, for me, the first goalkeeper I would put in there, I think it has to be Peter Schmeichel. He was phenomenal with Manchester United. Really phenomenal goalkeeper. So I would go Peter Schmeichel over Cech. I don't know if Cech's maybe too recent, actually, to be on this list. So that's probably why he's not on there yet. But I definitely think one day he will be in the Hall of Fame for sure. But for me, the goalkeeper to go with first, I think would be Peter Schmeichel. H. Huss says, great to see you back. Appreciate it, my guy. Yeah, it's great to be back. We're going to be doing these every Saturday. And it's just going to be a live podcast. I got a couple segments planned. I'll answer some questions. We'll debate, discuss. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, for those of you interested in more frequent content, and if you are interested in Manchester United content, I have a Manchester United channel, Fergie's United fan channel. That's where I've been uploading recently. So if you guys are interested, definitely go check it out. Maybe drop a subscription if you would like to. But yeah, no pressure, because I'll be back on here once a week. All right. Let's see what others are saying here. Ferdinand, Vidic, and Neville. Yeah. I think Ferdinand and Vidic are very interesting ones, too, from defenders. I think John Terry deserves a shout for what he was able to do at Chelsea. I believe in the start of a decade and the end of a decade. For example, you have John Terry, at the start of a decade, over a 10-year period, he captained Chelsea to a title. And then he did it at the end of the decade as well. So I believe that was the 2004-2005 season and then the 2014-2015 season. So that's extremely impressive stuff. Gwinnell says, yes, if you're interested, even just... No, not for bantering. For respecting, for absolutely supporting, getting behind, loving Manchester United. Go check me out over there. No, we don't banter United on that channel. Absolutely not. No slander that way. But yeah. I think a lot of the players you guys, I don't know, maybe I'm assuming too much, but I think I'd be right in assuming that, majority of this chat, majority of us are probably on the younger side here, so maybe we haven't all gotten to see all these players play in their prime, and that's why I think we're seeing a lot of players who haven't quite made the list yet, but I think will be one day. For example, Company for sure. So yeah, 100%. But yeah. Anyways, everyone is looking over the defenders, though. Yeah, facts, Renan. Absolute facts right there, my guy. And that's what I'm saying. I think, Terry, Vidic, Ferdinand, all very deserving. I think that's enough, though, of the Hall of Fame. All right? I have a couple other topics to talk about, but I would love to hear from you guys first in the chat. Any kind of questions you guys got for me about the football? I have a couple more topics right now that are really great stuff, but we'll take a little break from my kind of planned topics, and let's hear what you guys have any questions. Thoughts on the Champions League. So, well, in fact, that was one of my topics. Abraham. The Champions League. So, we'll get into that. The Champions League final. Manchester City versus Chelsea. All right? So, Manchester City have had a phenomenal season. They've been definitely the most dominant side in Europe, in my opinion, no doubt. Got to give them the credit where it's due. But what I also have to say is this. Chelsea have come across an incredibly phenomenal run of form. So it's interesting. It makes for an interesting final. Really quickly, 1 second. Congrats to Wazza, because of course Wayne Rooney was able to help Derby County stay up, so that's phenomenal. Really happy to hear that. So good shout, Gwinnell, because I'm just looking at it on Sky Sports. Yeah, I believe they're staying up. I gotta confirm that, but I think today's the last day the championship takes place. But yeah, back to, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna take a look here at the standings, and then we'll get back to the Champions League. Yeah, it looks like Derby County will be staying up. That is phenomenal news. Really happy about that for Wayne Rooney. But, all right, back to the Champions League. I personally think Manchester City are a better side than Chelsea. But in a one-off game, and considering how good Chelsea have been under Thomas Tuchel, I think it makes a very interesting match. The idea of Chelsea winning the Champions League blows my mind. Blows my mind, considering where they were, in December? Like, that genuinely blows my mind. So, I mean, but for some reason, I just feel like, okay, my head, everything, all my football knowledge IQ says that Man City should win this final. But something about it, the mix of Chelsea, just being in phenomenal form, and Manchester City having a knack for, poor performances in the Champions League in the late rounds throughout other years. Obviously, they've been great this year, but throughout other years, just gives me, a feeling that Chelsea could somehow create the upset. What I would say, though, I think, okay, let me give my final kind of verdict on this. I think City will win the Champions League this year. I think this is their year to win it. It's been so long. They've had the quality for several years to win it. But this year, it looks like they finally put it together. So I am going to go with Manchester City. Apologies, Chelsea fans. Apologies. What I will say, though, if Chelsea win it, there's going to be one player. There's going to be one especially key player for them. And that player is going to be N'Golo Kante. All right? How good has this guy been recently, bro? N'Golo Kante, I was talking with Sandro about this. I said, right? Kimmich, I think Kimmich had surpassed N'Golo Kante in recent years. Well, for me, Kante is just, in like 2 weeks' time, he's put himself right back above Kimmich. Because he's been phenomenal. And I genuinely believe this when I say this. You guys may call me crazy, but I think Kante could one day be the greatest CDM of all time. One day could be the greatest CDM of all time. Before I get into that argument, I want to read through here really quickly and see what you guys have to say. Josh says it's City. The odds will be like that match 60-40 in favor of City. Gwinnell, I think those are the right odds. Brendan's gone 70-30, but I think 60-40, right? Champions League final, it's a one-off game, right? If it was two legs, I think it would even skew more to City's favor, but it's a one-off game. So anything in a one-off game is possible. And especially with Chelsea's form that they're in, I mean, defensively, they're so buttoned up. And it's going to be, can City break that press? The only thing, right, if City gets so many numbers forward, it does leave them susceptible to the back at times, but they've got Ruben Dias now, and he's been a game changer for them. So I still will go in favor of City, but I do think there are interesting aspects of it. I think part of the issue with Chelsea, can they finish their chances at a high enough clip, right? I think Werner's been decent recently, but again, still missing some chances. But I think Werner and Havertz, guys, a lot of people thought they were full-on bust. No, especially Havertz, young player. They're really gonna kick on next year. They're really gonna kick on next year. Champions League final dress rehearsal today. I think Pep might play completely different tactics today to not give away anything. That does sound like something Pep Guardiola would do, and considering they're already, going to win the league, I think that sounds like something he'd do. There were City players that didn't even get subbed in against Chelsea's best team. United win. If United win to City when we had our back on the wall, and we have a better player on every position. If Ole can do it, Tuchel can. Kante is the only player I'm scared of. Tuchel might finish second. As a United fan, I really hope that's not the case. I think we will finish second. I'm really hoping we can pull it out and finish second. I think, if United finish second, win the Europa League, that would be a phenomenal season. And really, if we add a couple signings next season, could compete for the Premier League title. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. And that's also part of it, too, is there's some of these teams have so many areas to focus on, and can they really dial in on that Champions League final, or will they, or in order to do that, will they have to slip a little bit in the Premier League? So it plays a lot of interesting stuff into the final weeks of the season. But back to N'Golo Kante, because I really want to speak on this. So for me, could Kante one day be the greatest CDM of all time? Well, I think he could. Obviously, I'm going to talk about a couple of his achievements, but I just think from what he brings on the pitch with regards to his defensive work rate, the way he can cover so much ground and shut teams and players, special players down, is phenomenal. And we see the impact in every team he's played in, right? Winning the Premier League with Leicester. What is more legendary than that, bro? What is more legendary than that? Winning the Premier League with Leicester. Won the Premier League, Europa League, and FA Cup with Chelsea. And won the World Cup with France. What a resume that is already. World Cup with France. Premier League with Leicester. I mean, if he won the Champions League with Chelsea this season, I mean, that would just be the cherry on top for him. Do you know what I mean? And it couldn't happen to, like, a better guy, or at least as far as we know, a better guy. I mean, he just seems like a phenomenal bloke. Yeah, I genuinely think he could be one day the greatest CDM of all time. Yeah, 2015 Leicester was just crazy. Absolutely. And the driving force in that side was N'Golo Kante. Yes, I know they had Riyad Mahrez, who's been phenomenal for Manchester City this year. I know they had Jamie Vardy, who's been a top goal scorer in the Premier League for the last 5 years now. But seriously, N'Golo Kante was that driving force. They never win that. Never even come close to winning to winning the Premier League with N'Golo Kante. And remember, for a while people thought, oh, Danny Drinkwater was a phenomenal player as well. I mean, we've seen him go to Chelsea, right? And look how much he struggled. So, like, it really was N'Golo Kante, and he makes players around him so much better. And the fact that everywhere he's gone, right? Leicester City, Chelsea, and with France, he's won, is indicative of the type of player he is and what he brings to his side. So, I mean, he's gonna be shut down. And the matchup between him and De Bruyne, that is must-watch TV. I'll tell you what I'm gonna be doing. Well, I may be live streaming the Champions League final on here, by the way. That would be really exciting. So, let me know if that's something you want. If we keep hitting our like targets, you guys keep engaging with us. Let me know if that's something if you guys want. I'd be up for it 100%. I may have both vaccines by then, so I may be actually able to do it with my friend as well. But yeah, that's something we've talked about. But that's much watch TV. N'Golo Kante versus Kevin De Bruyne. I'm grabbing a bag of popcorn. I'm sitting down and I'm just watching, because that's going to be a phenomenal matchup. Nah, De Bruyne is smarter than that. He'll drop down to avoid N'Golo Kante. Yes, but N'Golo Kante, mate, the amount of the pitch that he covers is ridiculous. Like, I'm sure he'll definitely have his eye on De Bruyne. And Tuchel's even said it himself. He said, man, N'Golo Kante is just, like, he's just praised him the entire time, because, I mean, he just has been phenomenal. Gwinnell Serenin is a City fan. I'd love to hear in the chat what sides you guys all support. Let me know down below in live chat. I think I know for most of you, but I'd love to hear. Yeah, but it'll avoid any one-on-one. No, obviously the way City play, moving the ball like that, of course it won't just make for a head-to-head matchup the entire time. But trust me, throughout the entire 90 minutes, we will definitely see N'Golo Kante and Kevin De Bruyne go after it. And I do love to see the representation from the Premier League, which actually spurs me into my next topic. So great. Look at this. Look at these transitions, right? Does anyone on YouTube do transitions like that? Bam. Best league in the world. Oh, it's got to be the Premier League. 100%. 100%. For a little while I was entertaining the idea, could the Bundesliga compete? Could La Liga compete? And the thing about La Liga is I think it's been an underrated league for several years, because everyone goes, oh, it's not competitive. It's Bayern, Real Madrid, maybe Atletico Madrid from time to time, but it's not competitive. Well, I'm on a tangent, but I'm gonna speak on this. I think the reason why it appeared that way for so long was because Barcelona and Real Madrid were so good. They were so good for such a long period of time. Like, they were ridiculous. They were head and shoulders above everyone else throughout the early 2000s into 2010s. But now that the levels dropped, we've seen La Liga as actually a lot more competitive. So yes, I think La Liga was unfairly judged for a while. But back to the Premier League. I think it's the best league in the world. I mean, look at you got in the Europa League, you got Manchester United in the final. You got Arsenal in the semifinal. If we go to the Champions League, we have City-Chelsea final, right? Liverpool's not even in this conversation because of the injuries they've had this season, right? I mean, if you look at the depth, the top 10 in the Premier League. Let me pull it up on my phone just to be sure I got all the clubs in there. But the top 10 teams in the Premier League. I mean, look at this depth, right? Oh, let me refresh. Oh, no. Well, of course, you have Manchester City leading the Premier League. You've got Man United second. Leicester City third. Chelsea fourth. Leicester City above Champions League final. Chelsea. West Ham fifth. Tottenham sixth with Harry Kane, Heung-min Son. West Ham with Declan Rice. You have Tottenham, of course. You have Liverpool. Everton with Ancelotti, James Rodriguez. Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Leeds under Marcelo Bielsa, phenomenal side. And then Arsenal 10th, Villa 11th. Aston Villa with Jack Grealish, Douglas Luiz, Ross Barkley. I mean, the Premier League depth is just different. I genuinely believe the top 11 sides in the Premier League are all like really high-level sides. Sides that if you put them in European competition could do a pretty decent job. Obviously with those, I'd say from 7 downwards, I think those are all definitely more Europa League sides for sure. Right? But Arsenal made it to the Europa League semifinal and are currently 10th in the Premier League table, right? I mean, I think Villa could do a decent job in the Europa League. They won't be in it, but like they could, right? So I just think the Premier League depth 1 through 11 for me are all phenomenal sides. I think Wolves will see a resurgence with the return of Raul Jimenez. But I definitely do think there's a drop-off after Villa. And we see it in the point tally, right? 6 points between Villa and Wolves, and Wolves actually have a game in hand there. So, but Villa upwards is like, wow, what a table, right? That is. So yeah, I think Premier League is hands down best league in the world. Let's see what others are saying here in the chat. I just prefer Championship because of entertainment, and United should have been in the semi-UCL. Gwynil, great points there. So a couple things I want to unpack. Championship for entertainment. I need to watch more of the Championship myself. I'll do a lot of research this summer, learning about some of the new players coming up from the Championship, but I need to watch more of the games because, yeah, I've heard it's just so fun to watch. And United should have been in the semi of the UCL. 100%. They should have. United had the quality to have made a deep run in the Champions League, but mate, it's just like coming up in those big games. This is where Ole, he has his flaws tactically in those bigger matches, and also the fact that United in that time of the season weren't in the best of form. But hopefully next season, my hope next season is we can win a Premier League title. That's my main focus. I think, maybe we're still a couple of years off winning the Champions League, but I think if we get the right players in, we could win the Premier League next season. But that once again that would be 3 big signings in my opinion to do that. But anyways. Zane says, morning Fergs, what we talking about? Oh, we've bounced through a bunch of topics. We did Arteta. We talked a little bit about Arteta. We did the Hall of Fame. My 6 players who I think should be inducted next, Zane, just to give you a brief overview. Dennis Bergkamp, Eric Cantona, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, Frank Lampard, and Paul Scholes are my 6. We talked a little bit about the Champions League final. I'm going to predict City, but I think if there is one player that can turn the tide, N'Golo Kante. We talked about whether Kante could one day be the greatest CDM of all time. I think he could be. Especially if he wins this Champions League this season. That would be special. And now we're talking about best league in the world and why the Premier League right now is just head and shoulders above. Looking at the top 10, top 11 teams in the league it's just different, right? It's just different. So, and guys, if you are just tuning in, make sure to smash the like button. Goal today, 15 likes on the stream. We're going to be doing these weekly live podcasts every Saturday. So make sure you got the post notifications on and whatnot. Yeah, that's why the Prem is the best, as they had the most money. That is fact. There's 100% facts to that. That is absolutely factual, Sandro, and I won't deny it whatsoever. The Premier League, right? Like, for example, Arsenal are a club. Really quickly, Arsenal are a club that have spent a lot of money, right? 50 million on Thomas Partey. Not many teams in other leagues are able to spend that kind of money. Do you know what I mean? So it is mad. To be clarified, though, the reason why Arsenal fans are obviously upset with Kroenke, apart from the Super League, is also the way he's spending the money. So what Kroenke does is he only spends money that the club itself generates. He's never dipping into his own pocket, whereas a lot of the other Premier League owners are, just to clarify on that. And yes, it may look like Arsenal have spent a ton of money, but it's Kroenke's just pulling money out of the club, right? And he's not actually putting his own financial investment down. It's an interesting thing. But yes, yeah, what attracts money? Money quality. Yes, that is definitely very true. So I think there's big parts of it. But that's the interesting thing as well, right? How would the 50+1 impact, right? Because I definitely think we should implement the 50+1 in the Premier League. But how would that then impact the quality, the level, right? The competitiveness of the Premier League. So that's an interesting aspect of it, but I definitely think that's something worth risking 100%. Because fans definitely do need more say, more involvement. But yeah, for me, Premier League, best league in the world, hands down. Yeah, the 50+1 rule is working so good in Germany. Yeah, and that's literally why we've seen them not join the Super League, right? Like that was one of the driving reasons why those German clubs did not join. So super interesting stuff. Sheffield has more money than Ajax. Yeah, I'm looking at it, right? I always talk about the Scottish clubs because I follow them a little bit. Celtic and Rangers, in the transfer window, they spend usually less than £10 million, right? And those are clubs that, do decent in European competitions. They've been better before, but do you know what I mean? Like, you get a lot of these clubs. That's just an example. But, right, if Celtic and Rangers were in the Premier League with the Arsenal budget or some of these other clubs' budget, Everton's budget, could you imagine how good they would be, right? So, but then at the same time, the beauty of football is that money can't buy you trophies, right? It can help you. It can give you a massive advantage, right? Right? It's this example of, you're climbing up the mountain. Well, if you have a ton of money, you're already halfway up the mountain. But if you're out of shape or you're not good quality, then you're not going to get up the mountain before the person at the bottom, right? That's kind of the way I view it, right? It's definitely it's a major advantage, but it's not going to guarantee you anything. So yeah. 50+1 won't be feasible in England or UK. A hybrid solution might need to be done. And I think we should push for the 50+1, right? Because you want to push extreme. Because when you're extreme, like if you push extreme, here's where we're at now. If we push extreme, we may fall somewhere in the middle. But right, if we push for somewhere in the middle, then we may fall even close. Do you know what I mean? So I think pushing for the 50+1, going all in for that is phenomenal. But if we fall somewhere in between, at least it's a step forward, right? So that's the way I kind of view how we should approach it. Bro, Gladbach's most expensive signing was like 11 million. That's mad. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It is seriously crazy, right? Like Celtic and Rangers whole transfer budget for the last summer, 10 million. So one thing, guys, if you're enjoying the live content, make sure to smash the like button. We're trying to hit 15 likes on the stream. We're 1 like away from that goal, so let's reach that goal. I'd love to. I'd be buzzing to hit that goal. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. We'll be uploading on here somewhat consistently. I think we're pretty close to 3,000 subscribers on here. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't remember. Hey, 15 likes. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate the love. Big up. And yeah, I have one more kind of planned topic. Let's read through a couple of these chats. And then we can kind of break it out to just my guy Zane. Shout out. My guy. And yeah, guys, if I do the Champions League live stream with someone, it's going to be my guy Zane. We got to figure it out with my vaccine and getting my second one. But once I get my second vaccine, we should be good to do a Champions League live stream. So that would be on this channel. So be ready for that. All right, be ready for that. Let's see what others are saying here. Fan representatives on the board. Yeah, that's also so important, right? The Glazers proposed, they talked about, they actually had an open letter yesterday that I haven't talked about a lot yet. But they had an open letter yesterday back to the United Supporters Trust, saying, we're passionate about it. It's the same kind of stuff. It's a lot of talk, not a lot of action, right? Yet. But also they talk about, being able to sell the club back to some of the fans. And yeah, that's phenomenal in theory, but there's a couple issues with that, of course, right? So if you give fans 5% of the club, fans won't be able to do anything, right? Because even if they have representation, they'll just be outvoted every time. So that's a problem. For example, that's a major problem. Also, they could sell the club back to the fans, but how are the fans going to get, say they sell 50% of the club? Well, United's worth $4 billion. Who's going to buy, how can fans buy the $2 billion, worth of the club? So that's another problem. So there's a lot of aspects that play into it. I just thought that was something interesting there. And yes, fans need representation on the board. Nothing more important than that. Or Union Berlin spent like $2 million last summer and are fighting for Europe in the second season in the Bundesliga. Phenomenal. Oh, Sandro here with a hot take. I can't agree with this whatsoever. I can't agree, But you're welcome to your opinion. He says, okay, Prem best teams, Bundesliga best fans. I mean, you're 100% welcome to your opinion. I actually haven't been to a game in the Premier League or a game in the Bundesliga, so I can't comment on that. I cannot comment on that. But you're welcome to your opinion. We'll see what these other people in the chat have to say on that. Barca and Atletico are playing right now. Ooh, that should be a phenomenal game. Keep us updated on that. I'm gonna go on Twitter really quickly and see this Jadon Sancho goal, because I had seen from a couple of you it was phenomenal. All right, let's see what others are saying here. Like how he was gonna learn what the offside rule is. Yeah, how did that? I mean, it just shows, right? It shows if you're that reluctant to learn anything about football, you clearly do not care about the club that much, right? It's clear. It's fine to invest or use a football club as an investment, but you should be passionate about it, right? You should be, and there's absolutely no passion. They don't care, and it's the same thing with most of these owners. Okay, let me pull this up real quick. I'll get back to the chat in just a second, guys. But I do want to see this Jadon Sancho goal. I can't even lie. I'm seeing it. Oh man. Whoever that was for Leipzig, I'm not sure. This is like just a video off someone's TV, so it's kind of choppy. But like, he did whoever that defender was. I mean, that cut inside was dirty. Oh man. Could you imagine a front three? Could you imagine this front three in 4 years? Mason Greenwood as a striker, Marcus Rashford on the left, Jadon Sancho on the right. Woo! No one's stopping that. Mate, he's class. Who do you think will win La Liga? I say Real. All right, let me pull up the table because I don't follow La Liga that closely, but you know, obviously I am familiar with the teams at the top. I've watched a little bit of them in the Champions League. Give me 1 second. And then is there one other topic that I wanted to get to? Let me check here. I gotta take a look. Oh, yeah, there is one other topic that I want to talk about because it came up in the Discord. So let's take a look at La Liga table real quick. We'll answer Gwenil's question, and then we'll move to my final topic. Before then we just open up to full-on Q&A. But La Liga table right now. You had Atletico, who had a sizable lead at one point, have really fallen back. Their form is not great. You have Barcelona really starting to cut that gap. And then Real Madrid. I have a feeling it could be Barcelona. I don't know why. I just feel like they've really hit a good stride recently. Let's take a look at some of their recent performances. I mean, they did lose to Granada just a couple weeks ago, but I just don't bet against Lionel Messi. Do you know what I mean? I don't bet against Lionel Messi. We'll see. I think it's super close. It's really hard for me to call. I'll be quite honest with you guys. I don't watch enough La Liga to really be able to say. So I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I don't watch enough La Liga to really say. I hope Atletico win it. I think that would be phenomenal for La Liga. I hope it's Atletico. I think Barca may win it, but you just never know with Real Madrid as well. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna go. I hope Atletico to win it. So that's my hope. All right. Let's see what others are saying here. Random question. Fan of the Club World Cup? Not really. I've never been that excited by it. You know what I mean? Like the Champions League just seems like a much better. I mean, obviously the Champions League gonna have its flaws that they involve these new rules, but I just think that it's just a much better. I don't know. I'm just partial to the Champions League. I gotta say, Club World Cup's never really interested me that much. But I am excited for the Euros this summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. Ready for Scotland to shock the world. Tierney's back healthy, which is great news. Unfortunately, it looks like Ryan Jack, I believe, will miss the Euros. That's heartbreaking, I think. I'm pretty sure he will. So that's, for those of you unaware, central midfielder for Rangers, one of Scotland's better players on the side, and he's super important to what they do. People stopping that front three if the mid and defense doesn't improve. And yes, 100%. And that's why Gwenil, I mentioned in my recent video on the main channel. I guess it kind of is the main channel now. But Fergie's United fan channel, I mentioned, right, I basically said, Sancho's great and all. I'd love to sign Sancho, but, that's not the number one signing. We got to get a center back, central defensive midfielder, and if there's still the budget, then I'd love to go pursue Jadon Sancho. But I agree with you 100%. 100%. Nah. Hey, this front three does not compare. Foden, Torres, and Jesus does not compare to Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho. That's a better... Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho is a better front three, 100%. Foden's phenomenal. I don't have any issue with him. I think Ferran Torres is a good player, but not he's not quite on that level, I don't think, with Sancho, Greenwood, or... I don't think he's on that level with Sancho, Greenwood, or Rashford. And Jesus is definitely not. I mean, he's not very clinical. He's a good player, but, I mean, we've seen it this year, right? He's not really been called upon. Pep's actually gone to the false nine instead of playing Jesus multiple times. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Your club won a striker. Your club want to bring in a striker this summer, and it's not going to be... And if Gabriel Jesus was that good, then they wouldn't be doing that. Do you know what I mean? They're trying to buy a striker. And look at this transition. They're trying to get a man like Lewandowski. But because Jesus isn't all that good. He's good, but he's not, great. He's not Aguero level. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day. He's not elite. He's a good striker. Especially good backup striker. But he's not elite. And that's what we're going to talk about. Obviously, Robert Lewandowski. Because there was an article written by ESPN. It was a little kind of quoted by OneFootball, and OneFootball was kind of making the assumption that, all of a sudden, OneFootball was making the assumption that, all of a sudden Lewandowski's off to Man City. What I would say with Lewandowski is, obviously his contract runs out in June of 2023. He's getting a little older. I think he's around 31, 32 now. Still a phenomenal player. How I see this Lewandowski whole thing playing out, Sandro knows this already. I reckon Robert Lewandowski will leave next summer. I think, he'll be sold next summer, probably to Manchester City or Chelsea, the two clubs that have been mentioned that are interested, depending on what they sign this year. But I don't see City I see City signing. Well, hold that thought for a second. I'll hold that thought for a second. I'll finish my point on Robert Lewandowski. So I think Lewandowski will leave next summer. I think he'll probably go to City. And I think none other than Erling Haaland will come join Bayern Munich that same summer. Because listen to this, right? Erling Haaland's asking price right now is 150 million. Bayern Munich aren't playing that. Bayern Munich are way too smart to pay that fee. Do you know what I mean? Bayern move different. They're smart about how they move. They're way too smart to pay that fee. So what'll happen is next summer, Erling Haaland's buyout clause kicks in, right? And his buyout clause is only around, I believe, 70, 80 million euros instead of 150 million. So what Bayern will do is, right, they'll sell Lewandowski, whose contract is coming to an end, right? Whose contract is coming to the end, who's getting a little older. They'll sell him for 50, 60 million pounds to Man City. They'll buy Erling Haaland. They'll for what? The buyout clause, 70, 80 million, only spend 20, 30 million more maybe to get him. And now they've got a young, upcoming, one of the best young strikers in the world. Bayern moves smart, and I think that's going to happen. So that's how I see it playing out. Next summer, Lewandowski will leave. Erling Haaland will come to Bayern Munich. It makes sense to me. I'm set on that. I'm set on that now. I think that's the way it's going to go. But who knows? Zane says, I love Ferran, future of Spain. Yeah, I had a feeling, Zane. I think don't get me wrong, I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's quite on that level with, Jadon Sancho, if I'm being honest. But I think you have lots of patience and loyalty if you put Jesus to that high regard. Me as well. I just don't see City moving like that. City, if you're not performing, they'll go and replace you. Look at their backline. That's why they have a whole 250 million pound backline on their bench. It's because if you're not good enough, they're gonna spend to replace you. That's how they move. You get me? I think an interesting player City could sign. An interesting player, maybe they won't. You guys may disagree with that. I could see City signing Danny Ings just for another option. I could see City continuing kind of playing that false nine, but also wanting to have a couple options up top, whether that be Jesus or Danny Ings. That's how I see them moving this summer. If they can't get like a, I mean, could Harry Kane end up? If Harry Kane ends up at Man City, it's over. Literally over. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you literally right now. If Harry Kane ends up at Manchester City, they will win the Premier League. They will win the Champions League. Like, they'll win everything. Because, I mean, obviously barring injuries and all that. But, like, bro, could you imagine Kane fitting into a Pep Guardiola side? Bro, it would just be unfair. Like, he is, like, the perfect striker. Can hold up the ball, is versatile, can run in behind, but also can check to the ball. Like, the link-up play. Oh, stop. Like, it would be unfair. It seriously would be unfair. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see. So, yeah. Let's see what others are saying here. Aiden, Bayern appreciates their legends of Lewandowski is still class and wants to stay at Bayern. They won't sell him, I think. But I may be okay with that, but I don't want Lewandowski to be sad. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. You're coming from the fans' perspective, of course. And obviously, you have lots of respect for Lewandowski, one of your favorite players, so I totally understand what you're saying. Bayern got Musiala going through the ranks, albeit he is a youngster. Yeah. And yeah, like Sandro said, he's a 10 or a winger, so I think that's a good point there. So, can play striker, says Gwinnell. Sandro disagrees. I would tend to say, with these young players, getting them in their best position, I think is really important. Obviously, you want them to be versatile, but I think he would be more effective on the wing. And how old is he? Isn't he like 17, 16? Like, you don't have to rely on him to lead your line. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely too early, too early for that. But could you imagine though him and Haaland in 5 years' time? Pooh! That's dirty as well, with also some of the other talent Bayern already had. That's dirty as well. Musiala and Haaland one day playing in the same front line. Oh my days. Wow. It's trying to just taking shots out here. He's taking shots out here, he says. At least we have a backline, unlike United. Yeah. Gwinnell says, is your name Aiden? Yes, my name is Aiden. Yes. It is. Aiden, don't talk too fast. Aiden, do I see some tears? Nah. But bro, that would actually be like, you guys, I have to keep it a buck. Like, Kane at City would be ridiculous. It just would be. I mean, he's, in my opinion, do I want to think before I say this? Best striker in the world? Oh, wait up, hold up. I don't want to get pissed Sandro off. He's right behind Lewandowski as the best striker in the world. All right, we'll put it there. He's right behind Lewandowski as the best striker in the world. How about that, Sandro? In ways, Kane offers more, right? I think as a distributor, he's phenomenal as well. Like, his hold-up game is superb. I think, yeah, he's right behind Lewandowski. Like, those are the two best strikers in the world. I'll say that. All right. So those are all my topics planned for today. I still have a lot of energy. I was thinking I was only going to go for an hour. We can go for a little bit longer, maybe 10, 20 more minutes, and then we'll call it a day. I hope you guys are enjoying, these live podcasts, something a little different. So yeah, really happy to be back on here chatting with you guys. Appreciate you all helping me hit the like goal. And yeah, it's definitely good to be back on here, just chatting away with you guys. And getting to talk on some topics that I don't necessarily get to speak about on the other channel. So we'll be doing these every Saturday throughout the entire summer. It's gonna be a great time. Aiden, Charlie McNeil coming through the ranks. Yeah, 100%, mate. Phenomenal player. Actually, Gwinnell, are you familiar with my other channel, Gwinnell? I'm not sure if you are, but if you are, I actually have a Wonder Kids video. And McNeil's not in that video. It's a part 1. I did the kind of top 5 United Wonder Kids that are coming through the ranks right now. But obviously, McNeil's going to be in that part 2 when I do post it, probably sometime this summer. I want to space them out a little bit. But yeah, I definitely do recommend, if you're interested in that stuff, check it out. I just started following today. Great. Yeah, that Wonder Kids video is a couple months back. If you're into that whole Wonder Kids scene, which I know a lot of people are, that video is actually kind of popping off right now. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, I definitely recommend, you give that a watch. It's really interesting, and it talks about more of the well-known names, but the next couple of videos are really going to get into some of the James Gardners, the Charlie McNeil, some of the other players that are also coming through. A little on the younger side, of course, McNeil, but yeah. Does Gio Reyna have the potential to be better than Pulisic? Interesting. That's a good shout. You know what? I haven't watched a ton of Dortmund, so it's tough for me to say. I think Reyna's going through a bit of a... Is it fair to say Raymond's going through a bit of a rougher patch right now? But I think he will persist through it. What do you guys think? I'd love to get Sandro's thoughts. I think Reyna's phenomenal. I think Reyna's phenomenal. Yeah, I think Gio Reyna's phenomenal. I think he's a really good player. I think, I don't know how to compare them really, Zane, because they're just different players in my mind. I think they're just very different players. But yeah, we'll have to see Reyna's development. I need to watch more Gio Reyna. I'll be honest with you, 100%. I haven't watched enough Dortmund to really say. Obviously, I watched them against Man City in the Champions League. I think, but of course, Reyna wasn't playing. So yeah, I haven't watched enough to say. Let's see what Sandro has to say on it, though. He says, I think Reyna will be better, but I think due to injuries from Pulisic. Interesting, but both great players. Yeah, I personally think, I'm of the mindset, obviously, Pulisic just has some, physical qualities that make him so good with his pace and his speed. Obviously, he's shown flashes that he could be a top player in the Premier League. But the issue is injuries, like Sandro said. I think with Reyna, you just have a super technical player, really skilled, really talented. So yeah, I just feel like they're a little different. But maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me know in the chat. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know enough on it. I'm gonna have to watch a little bit more. of Gio Reyna. Okay, let's see what others are saying here. What happens to Van de Beek this summer? I think he stays. A lot of it will depend on also what happens to Pogba. If Pogba leaves, Van de Beek gets a lot more opportunity next season. If Pogba stays, I don't see where Van de Beek really fits into United. However, listen to this. I think this is a very interesting take. So hear me out, guys. Listen. Okay, here's how I could see it playing out. If we get a central defensive midfielder, you guys let me know. You can shoot this down if you want. Could United play, say example, we sign Declan Rice or Basuma, a 4-3-3 with Declan Rice, central defensive midfielder, attacking midfielders, Bruno Fernandes and Donny van de Beek, because Van de Beek obviously is much better as an attacking midfielder, and then Pogba on the wing, because Pogba's been playing a lot on the wing. How about that? That sounds very interesting to me. Something I think could happen. So if United can get a central defensive midfielder, I think that unlocks a lot more options for Van de Beek to play. And that's going to, because right now you can't leave Fred or McTominay by themselves in the central defensive midfield. They're not reliable enough. But with Pogba playing on the wing, I think that's super interesting. We just signed Bailly to a new contract. Yeah, that's great news as well. That would give us, if we could get Varane, then we have so many options. Varane, Maguire, Lindelof. You have elite in a Varane, but then you have Bailly, Maguire, Lindelof, who are all good, but not quite on that level. So I think it would be a really good pairing. Oh, surely means no new center back if no center back departures. I think we have to get a center back. It's not. Do you know what I mean? We literally must get a center back. I don't see how. Look at the defending against Roma. It was terrible, absolutely atrocious. So I don't know. I think in my opinion, it's a must. We'd be super silly not to. So we obviously have Maguire, we have Lindelof, we have Bailly. I'm blanking on others. I know Phil Jones is obviously there. I know Jones. I don't. That's what I'm thinking. I can only think of those four. I know we're blanking. Oh, Tuanzebe. That's who. I think Tuanzebe will leave. I think we'll bring in a new center back. That's what I think will happen. Jones is on such a big contract. No one will ever want him. So, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. I think, he's injured anyways. But, yeah, I think Tuanzebe will leave and we'll get a center back. Gonna pay $80 million for a freezer this time, says Serenin. Oh, man. Serenin giving us a hard time here. I see Will is here. Welcome, Will. He says Arsene Wenger back In the background, yes, sir, we got the little setup going on again, the little green screen. Hope you guys are enjoying the nice little setup. I think it looks pretty clean here. You know, we got the blue sky really lets the Fergie's football focus and the FT really pop. That was kind of the thinking behind it. You know, obviously then we have. I didn't intend for this, but the way it's set up, my screen does kind of look like a jumbotron in a stadium. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, interesting stuff. But then Fred or McTominay should leave. Yeah, if we do get a central defensive midfielder, I think one of them may have to leave. I would say, interesting. Who would you all rather have leave? That's my question. Who would you all rather have leave? Fred or McTominay? Or who do you think should leave? I like them both, though. That's a thing. Scott McTominay is my guy, Scottish player. He's had a good season. A lot of, you know, when playing as a number 8, he's really excelled. And the thing about Fred is, like, I like him as well. Like, he's had a good season as well. But one of them probably would have to leave. Yeah, I guess you could get more for Fred if you sell him, right? You probably could get more for Fred. So that's an interesting shout there, Ganel. So yeah. Anyways, guys, what other thoughts, questions, comments? Let me scroll up here and see if I missed anything. Will, I do appreciate you tuning in, mate. Thanks for stopping by. McSauce, kind of a cult with United fans. That's solid. Yeah. Well, McSauce, I don't know. I really like both of them. I think Fred gets. Don't get me wrong. Fred's had his problems this year with regards to obviously the Leicester City FA Cup match. He's prone to mistake. He struggles sometimes under pressure, like when I mean defensive pressure, not like fan pressure, but defensive pressure. But I think he is kind of a scapegoat at times, and I think he's had a really good season. And there are matches for both of them at Manchester United if they stay. But like if you have all those players, I don't know how it would quite work. But definitely one of them could stay. But who knows? Yeah, I think because we would have what? We'd have Pogba, we'd have Bruno, we'd have Van de Beek. We'd have, say we have Rice. I mean, yeah, it would get tight. Honestly, I think I'd rather have both McSauce and Fred, though, over Matic. I'll be 100% honest with you. I'd rather have both McSauce and McFred over Matic. Should be in United fan channel, but I think... Tahith Chong is leaving as well. Yeah, that seems like it's going to happen as well. I don't think he's been playing too well on his loan spell either. So, Traore and Pellistri out on loan. Yeah, so I'll be honest with you. Pellistri, I think, is a good player, but I don't think he'll ever be anything more than a squad player at Manchester United. I haven't been exceptionally blown away by him. I think he's just kind of an average. He'll be an average academy graduate and nothing more than that. Traore, though, of course, I think he'll be superb. 100%. I think he'll be special. But yeah, Pellistri hasn't really blown me away. I talk a little bit about that in the Wonder Kids video. In that Wonder Kids video, I think I talk about Mebry, I talk about Diallo, I talk about Shoretire, I talk about Pellistri, and I talk about Joe Hugo as well. Those are the 5 I talk about in part 1. But I'm going to start working on part 2, and I'll probably release it sometime, maybe in June. I just want to spread them out. So, yeah. Guys, anything else before we call it a day? Did you guys enjoy the live podcast? Let me know down below. Let's see what others are saying here. What do you think of Real, Barca, and Juve refusing to give up the Super League? Very interesting stuff. Yeah, no, that is fascinating to me. I don't know. It's just it looks really bad, right? It looks really bad from them. It's like you expect, like what do you expect? Like you go out, you do this, make this rash decision, really irresponsible. You do something extremely irresponsible, and then you expect to not receive any punishment for that. Like it just shows like the delusional side of these football clubs, and that they think just because they wield all this power, they can exploit other people. So it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, Shoretire is phenomenal. Actually, what do you think of the proposed fines for the 9 clubs? Interesting stuff. That's a great question there. I think we'll probably wrap it up on this one. Maybe no, we'll do a couple more. But I think I think those fines are not enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think UEFA's trying to be kind here. They're trying to say, if you cooperate with us, we're not going to punish you too hard. But in some ways, they need to punish them hard, right? I think they need to punish them harder, so something like this doesn't happen again. Because like that's not that big of a punishment, and it kind of leaves the door open for we can just kind of float these ideas out here without receiving much of a punishment. So I don't know, man. I think it was a little soft from UEFA. But once again, these clubs do wield so much power. It's like, what can you really? It's hard for them to really take action against them. And what do you think of teams getting to bring 3 extra players to the Euros? Now nations can bring 26 players to the Euros, but only 23 per match. That's really interesting. I think that's a rule. I get it, because obviously the COVID stuff, but I believe that's probably because of COVID. Maybe not, but I would say this. I think that really does benefit the bigger nations that have more quality, right? Because obviously they're going to have much more depth then, as opposed to, for example, England, population 50 million, roughly. All right, there's a lot more depth and quality in England, right? Scotland, a population of 5 million, right? Obviously, not that same depth. They're not going to have that same squad depth. So having squad depth is so important, right? That's why we see Man City excel. That's why we're seeing so many of the sides that do well is because, especially in the Champions League, squad depth. That's why Bayern won last year, partially squad depth, right? So in my opinion, I think it does just really benefit those bigger nations. I'd be more encouraged if the extra 3 spots were for youngsters, for development, just being around the environment. That would be very cool. I agree with that 100%. Like, just having them for training and I mean, obviously they could make the squad if they're playing well enough, but that would be cool. But then at the same time, it's that, like, does every country have those? Yeah, it makes it interesting, but I like that idea. I don't know if that would be practical, but I love the idea. I believe because COVID, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. It'll be interesting to see where the matches ended up getting held. I know England sounds like they're going to host theirs, but, like, for example, Scotland, they're a little bit behind with COVID restrictions, a little more strict there, so I don't know if it's actually going to happen. So that would be a bummer, for Scotland, that they weren't able to. Two of their matches in the group stage are at Hampden, so it would be terrible if that was stripped away from them. I'm just watching Palace game. I wish someone buys Zaha soon. We get a percentage of the transfer. Yeah, Zaha's a phenomenal player. I mean, he's had a really great season with Palace. He's wanted to move away for a while now, and I just don't know if it'll ever work out. But yeah, it's just that the fees they've asked for Palace are just ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like, how much do you guys think Zaha's worth? Like, 50 mil, 40 mil? I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one. I wouldn't say it depends on how many years are on his contract as well, which I don't know off the top of my head. But he's a very good player, and he could definitely play at a more elite club. This season, 10 goals, 2 assists. He's been playing more as a striker, so his assists are down a little bit. But in previous seasons, 10 goals, 5 assists, 7 goals, 9 assists. Like, he's a solid player. I think Zaha would be a good. I think Zaha would be like a really good player for like an Arsenal or someone like that. They haven't wanted to pull the trigger on him, and in that, fair enough, because the transfer fees have been ridiculous, or like an Everton. But yeah, I don't know. Zaha's kind of like the Kevin Love of football, being linked to a move for a long time now. Yeah, I am familiar with Kevin Love. Let's see what others are saying here. Oh, Sancho scored again. All right, I'm gonna read through this one more time. I'm gonna read Svenden's final comment here, and then I'm gonna look at the Sancho goal, and then we'll call it a day. Because I think we've been going for almost an hour and 30 minutes now, so I should call it here. Not keep these too long. I will actually upload this to YouTube, and yeah, we'll be doing these each week. So good to. I think this was a great start, and I think as we do it more frequently, the momentum will only build on these. So yeah, appreciate y'all tuning in. Live stream tomorrow on Fergie's United fan channel. I'll actually plug all this stuff right at the end, but let me read through this. Also, the European spots in the PL will be very interesting with, of course, Chelsea City final and Man United to maybe win the Europa League, and then City, who won the Carabao Cup, and Leicester versus Chelsea as the Cup final. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of great games going on in this month, and it'll be interesting to see who finishes in those European spots, who finishes where, and of course, who's winning the Europa League and Champions League. Please, United, please win this Europa League. Like, mate, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years. It's been a little while. I think the last time we won a trophy was the 2016-2017 Europa League with Jose Mourinho. I believe that was the correct year. Mate, I'm itching for a trophy right now. I'm itching for a trophy. So, yeah, it'll be exciting. All right, really quickly before we leave, I'm gonna take a look on my phone at this Jadon Sancho goal. I want to see this. Another goal from Jadon Sancho. Okay, that's the one I've already seen. Let's see the latest one. Scrolling down. Let me find a video. Mate, please. I want to see this. Sandro said it was phenomenal, so let's see. Let's take a look here and see if we can find this one. Jadon Sancho has got 2 goals today. I don't see it yet, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this one, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Okay, here we go. Jadon Sancho's goal to make it. Oh, no, that's the wrong goal. No. Where is it? Oh, I can't find it. Wait up. Surely it's got to be on here somewhere. So the work before the goal was good. Okay. I'll definitely keep that in mind. We'll see if I can find it here. Okay. Wait up. Yeah, got it. Let's take a look. 2-2? Oh, wow. This has been a really great game then. Mate, I'm missing out. All right. Good ball forward. Sancho. Oh, wow. Great creativity there. That was a phenomenal goal just from the entire Dortmund team. But Sancho there, quick feet. Mate, he would excel at United with the players that we have around him. Little back heel there, gets it back, and then puts it in the back of the net. Fair play. That's a phenomenal goal. He's had quite the game today. You know, he's a little slow to start the season, but I think people have been... Erling Haaland celebrating on the sideline there. You love to see it. Hopefully he's back from injury soon. But yeah, he's celebrating there on the sideline. I love Haaland's energy, man. He just, he loves the game. He loves the play. It's phenomenal. I absolutely love it. Also, really quickly, while we're on the topic of Dortmund, mate, you know who's really blown me away? Jude Bellingham. I love Bellingham. I thought he was phenomenal against Man City. One final thing, I want to say about Sancho is, People are saying he's having a bad season because they're looking at his past couple seasons and his statistics. This is just wrong, 100% wrong. I mean, last year, 17 goals, 16 assists in 32 matches. That's just because that's ridiculous form. That's unsustainable. It seriously is unsustainable. He'll probably finish around his tally in his first season, which was 12 goals, 14 or not first season, but 2018-2019 season, 12 goals, 14 assists. He'll probably end somewhere around there. He's a phenomenal player. Hopefully, if we get a center back, some defensive midfielder, hopefully then we will sign Jadon Sancho this summer at Manchester United. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited to see how he develops. And we will end today's episode there, guys. Jadon Sancho with 2 phenomenal goals in Dortmund's match against RB Leipzig. But yeah, I appreciate everyone tuning in to Fergie's Football Focus, our live podcast that we will be doing weekly, every Saturday on this channel. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. And if you're interested in Manchester United content, go check out Fergie's United fan channel. Also, if you guys would like to join the Discord where we debate, discuss football topics, the link is in the description as well. And yeah, anything else I want to plug? We will be live tomorrow on Fergie's United fan channel for Manchester United's match against Aston Villa. I would love to have you guys all there. So yeah, I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. And yeah, look forward to watching a bit of that Chelsea, a little bit of that Chelsea-Man City match. So, yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? Take it easy, y'all. Peace.